Hey boys, welcome back to the channel where we're going to be going through the first couple of games on round one. Exciting stuff. Vegas is a couple of days away. I'm recording this on Thursday, so dude, it's so close. Sunday morning, 10 a.m. What a beautiful time for some football, bro. Nice and early. That's great. Honestly, I'm pumped to sit down and watch some footy. Nice and early in the morning. But we got two games on, and I thought I would go through the team list for both, discuss sort of Supercoach relevancy, because there's a few interesting selections for sure that have got me thinking about what I'm gonna do. It's opened some potential options. So we'll go through. First up off the rank here, Canberra Raiders versus the Warriors. Also, I will have made the leagues. So I think I haven't done it yet. By the time the video goes up, in the comments section will be the league codes for Supercoach. So just look at my pinned comment. I think what I'm going to do, I'll have like a public league, just like an overall league that we'll get to see who wins, I guess. It'll be fun. And then I'll do like two regular leagues of like head-to-head. Even though I don't play head-to-head, it's always fun to see how we go, and other people like to they go a little bit harder in head-to-head. So we'll do two normal head-to-head leagues, and then the one will be like a public league that everybody can join. So you can see where you rank in the insane league, basically. So that'll be in the comment section. Make sure to join that. But let's get into the first game here. So going through the Raiders, KO Weeks, obviously fullback. As we expected, Tamale on the wing with Xavier Savage, Seb, Chris, and Matthew Timoko in the centres. Strange, Fogarty, Corey Horsburgh is the starting prop, which is great. I mean, it was expected. The only concern was that we hadn't seen him in the trials, so there was a little bit of question mark if he was good to go. But it looks like he is ready to rip and tear, and he's locked in. Like, I feel like it feels like it's too good to be true, but I feel like he's going to be the buy of the season for most people, right? Like, he's just going to be an absolute standout, just plug and play in your front row, but we'll see. Tommy Starling, Joe Tarpany, the captain. Hudson Young, Zach Hosking is the back row with Morgan Smithies at lock. Owen Paddy, the young superstar coming through, is the 14. Simi Sasangi on the bench with Josh Papali'i and Atta Mariota there rounding out. I love Mariota. Honestly, he's so good. He's not going to be relevant again in Supercoach just because the minutes aren't there for him, but good Lord. If I was a club, like, I'm not a recruiting manager or I'm not a fucking head coach, but man, I would be on the phone to this guy to get him a starting gig somewhere. He's too good to be getting like 20-30 minutes off the bench, but I digress. A couple of big ones. So obviously Tamale is a talking point. Like I said in my team list reveal, I think with Shibazaki now getting added to Supercoach, and I think he's $230k. He's not bottom dollar, but he's cheapy price. I think for me, Shibazaki, also with Tony Staggs missing like 4 to 6 weeks, Shibazaki is going to replace Tamale for me, because I think there's three very good cheapy center wing options. I think Tamale is just too big a risk. One, I don't necessarily think he's going to score that well. I mean, if we look at all the Raiders wingers over the last few years, none of them have really been that relevant. I mean, Xavier Savage, he gets the odd doubles and he scores decently at times, but I mean, you'd have to go back to like Nick Kotrick before he left to the Bulldogs originally. He was a bit relevant. He was a bit of a gun, but I don't know. The Raiders wingers just don't really see that much footy. I don't know, their style of play is just different to a lot of other teams, I would say. Their halves love to run it. KO Weeks is a runner. So, I don't know. I'm not that hyped for him scoring that well to begin with. And then obviously the Albert Hopewade is a danger as well for job security. Now, there's obviously two ways to look at this. Now, I do agree that there's every chance Hopewade comes into the centres, because it doesn't really make any sense that Hopewade in the trials played in the centres. Like, if Hopewade was going to come straight back in round 2 and go to the wing, why wouldn't he have trialled on the wing? Like, obviously, he's an experienced player now. He can do the job, but it looked like he'd bulked up as well. It looked like he had bulked up to play centre. Now, he could very well come in and play centre. That doesn't necessarily mean Tamale is still safe. There's every chance Albert Hopewade could come into centre and Seb Chris could go to the wing. So I think there's too many question marks. If we didn't get, Jackson Purdue, Robert Toya, and Shibazaki, and also there's other guys around that 300k mark that are looking promising as well. If there weren't that many guys that look pretty secure, then I don't mind the punt on Tamale. He could definitely, if he kills it in this game, there's every chance he could retain the spot. He's obviously a very talented player, but I think with the question marks, I think it's not worth taking the risk. There's better options as it stands right now over Tamale. Obviously, KO Weeks is a bit popular. You can slot him in at 5'8". I'm still leaning towards just going a bit of a pod route. Well, I don't know. Hopefully he's still pretty poddish, but Adam Dewey, I'm pretty keen on. I don't mind KO Weeks. I mean, getting a starting fullback in 5'8" for 500k, it's not bad. Definitely not bad, but does he have that next step in him? He's obviously got the freakish ability. He's going to score some scintillating tries, but I don't see him getting like that 60-70 average, right? I feel like he's priced accordingly, which is fine. If you can plug and play a 50-55, it's not the worst, but not for me. Obviously, Horsburgh, lock and load. Zach Hosking, so no, what's his face? Not Morgan Smithies. Matty Nicholson. I had a brain fart there. I couldn't think of his name. But no Matty Nicholson in the 17. He's not even on the extended, which is very strange because he looked pretty strong in the trials. He looked like a body that he looks like a guy that could play through the middle. Obviously he's been an edge back rower, but I don't know, the way he looked, his play style, it looked like he probably could potentially play through the middle as well. So there's not, maybe he transitions more to that, but he's not even on the extended, which obviously leads us to believe that there could be an injury to him, which would make sense because, I mean, you've got Semi Sasangi, who is obviously the utility / back row center potential if there's an injury. And I think Nicholson showed a bit more than Sasangi in the trials, so it's a bit strange he wouldn't be there if there wasn't an injury. Obviously, that brings Hosking to the forefront. I gotta be honest, I'm really keen on Hosking. As you saw in my team reveal, I did have Connor Watson there, just as a bit of dummy half cover if the cheapies really fail. But if you go like 80k down, you can get Hosking, who I do prefer as a back row option. He's shown, like, if he gets the minutes, he's an absolute workhorse. He's got some attacking upside, hopefully running off Jamal Fogarty. He should be on that right side. Hudson Young obviously will be on the left. I like Hosking a lot. And, Mariota obviously through the middle, Papali'i through the middle, Paddy, I wouldn't expect big minutes through dummy half. And then Sasangi, yeah, he could replace a back rower. Maybe Hosking doesn't play 80, but it's got me really contemplating Zach Hosking. It's a bit of a nervous one because, yeah, Nicholson, maybe he's got a niggle. He could be back in round 2. He could spell more minutes. Hosking has had his own injury concern. He hasn't trialled at all, so could be a little bit underdone. There's a few things against it, but boy, I am tempted. And then Owen Patty. I'm not going to lie, I did talk about this, that Tommy Starling, I feel like Starling is a little bit more tempting now. I have seen people that are keen on Patty, and I'm like, why would you be keen on Owen Patty? Obviously, he's a bottom dollar cheapie, but he's not going to play big minutes. Like, I don't know what people... He's on the bench. He's going to... I think at most he'd play 30 minutes. I think that's probably a stretch as well. I feel like Stewart is not gonna play Owen Paddy big minutes. Obviously, if there's an injury to Starling, then yeah, okay, Paddy might come on and play big minutes. And I could be wrong. Maybe Paddy plays 40-40, but I'm not expecting big minutes. I think he's going to be used very sparingly, which I think Tom Starling proves a little bit more tempting out of like the cheaper dummy half options. I don't think I would do it just in case Stewart does do more of a split role with Paddy. I still think I'll wait and see if Mamazoulis, Brendan Hands, Corey Pakes, any of those guys get like no second dummy half on the bench, then I'd pick those guys up. But I think Starling is, he's not a bad shout. But yeah, I think there's no reason to start with Paddy. I think a lot of the other guys, like a Mamazoulis, like a Hands, if you go with one of those guys because they've got a good role and they don't do too well, Owen Paddy, maybe he does play more minutes than we're expecting, then you can always just use a trade to downgrade to Paddy. Like, he's cheaper than those guys by a good 100k. So I don't see the point in starting Paddy. I've seen a few people keen on him. I just don't see the minutes, but obviously exciting for the future there for the Raiders. But yeah, not much else to really talk about. We'll go to the Warriors, which do have a shock inclusion, but obviously CNK, Torpicki. Again, I keep being like so keen on Torpicki, and then I realize, oh shit, he's only goddamn fullback. Although, wait, I know Supercoach did release dual positions for players before round 1. I'm really hoping Tuapiki got centre wing, because I'm not going to lie, if Tuapiki got the dual centre wing fullback, I would heavily consider going him over Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. I just think Tuapiki is an absolute flyer. I think he'll be on that right-hand side, which they love to attack. He's got the work rate, he's got the tackle busting like a Roger. I like the potential Tuapiki. I really hope they gave him the duel. I'll be disappointed if they didn't. Leotawa, obviously a popular one, but again, 500k. He's been a beast, but I don't know. I can't. I prefer one of the wingers over Leotawa. I know he's a pod, but yeah, I don't know. I'd prefer one of the wingers. Pompey, Roger, obviously, and then Chanel Harris-Tavita in for Tamara Martin, which is, I gotta be honest, is a little shocking. Don't get me wrong, I think it was the second trial, Chanel Harris-Tavita, yeah, that's right, yeah, Tamara Martin played fullback, Harris-Tavita was in the halves, so I guess there was a show that, yeah, they were probably preferring Harris-Tavita, and he looked good. He actually looked really good in that trial, but I don't know, I think Tamara Martin has been pretty overlooked here. I think he's an exceptional half. So I don't know. I think that I'd probably prefer Tamara Martin with the attacking upside, but yeah, Harris-Tavita, rock solid. It is what it is. It might mean good things for Luke Metcalf, who is obviously going to be in most people's teams. You would think Metcalf will take more responsibility. Harris-Tavita probably less likely to get his hands on the footy than a Tamara Martin, so probably good things for Metcalf, but yeah, I don't know. I'd probably prefer Tamara Martin in there. Fisher Harris, Egan, Barnett, Capel, Niokore, and Aaron Clark. So, like I was saying, there's every chance of Umaga, a Laban, one of those cheapies got the spot, or they could go with the tried and tested Marata Niokore. I'm surprised they have gone with him. I think Niokore, his best footy now is through the middle, but I get it. Aaron Clark also, I'm still not that keen on Clark. I could eat my words and I could bring him in before price rises if he is playing 55, 60 minutes. I don't see it with Dylan Walker on the bench. Walker is going to play good minutes. If Aaron Clark and Walker play minutes at the same time, then sure, but like Barnett's going to play big minutes. Fisher Harris, maybe not, so maybe there's a potential that Clark stays on. I don't know. I'm happy to wait and see on Aaron Clark at 400k. He's a guy that he's not going to hurt you if you don't start, right? He's not going to punch out hundreds, but he is a potential guy that you could either downgrade or slightly upgrade in a couple of weeks if he is punching out big minutes. So yeah, Dylan Walker, Jackson Ford, Dimitri Varmaga, and Halasima. I think he was the guy that changed his name. I always forget. Sifa Kula was one of those guys I always forget. But yeah, a pretty explosive bench. It's exciting. The one thing I guess to say is no Laban in the extended as well, which is also very surprising. He played in the All-Stars. I thought he was pretty solid. It looked like he was the front runner. So again, it does lead me to believe that there must be some sort of niggle or some sort of injury for Laban, right? Like, there's no... I'd be a little shocked if he wasn't in this team on the extended. So there's every chance a Laban comes in potentially in a couple of weeks and comes into that back row spot. I thought he was the front runner to get the back row spot. So that could be a good little downgrade for one of these guys that we're going that aren't quite hitting their straps in the back row. So keep an eye out for that. Obviously, he's not here at the moment, but there's every chance that he could come in. I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but it would make sense. And then obviously, I've seen people keen on Varmaga. I don't know. I mean, if there's a late change and Varmaga obviously goes into the starting side and Niokora back to the bench, then yeah. But off the bench, he's only a back row. I'm not that keen. I think I get it, but yeah, I don't know. I think there's better options, and I also don't mind just spending a little bit more to get someone a little bit better, you know? Someone at 300, 400k mark if you can swing it. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if there's any late changes to this side. But overall, it should be... I'm excited. I'm very excited for this match. I'm probably... In footy sense, it's a tough game to pick. Both these sides are... They're untested, you know. I think both of them have been tipped to probably struggle this year. The Warriors have been very good in the trials. The Raiders as well have been very good. So, I don't know. I'm probably going to go the Warriors. I think their team looks a little... I mean, the forward packs are both pretty strong. Backlines, a bit more excitement, I would say, in the Warriors. I don't know. It should be a good game, though. It should be a good game. I'm probably slightly tipping the Warriors in this one. Then moving on to Panthers Sharks, which should also be a good game. I mean, a lot of people are tipping the Sharks for the minor premiership / premiership. They're favourites for sure, or one of the favourites. Panthers, you know what they're going to dish up. They've obviously lost quite a few more troops, but it could be a good test. It'll be a good test. If the Sharkies are going to go to that next level, it's a game that they'll want to win. Definitely. Also, before I go into this game, I will say if you have any questions and stuff, leave them in the comments section. I'll either, depending how many there are, I'll try to answer them in the comments, or I'll make a separate video if there's a lot of questions. So yeah, let me know if there's anything you're interested in hearing my take on. But let's go through the Panthers. So Edwards, Casey McLean, who does retain a wing spot. Which is fair enough. I mean, he did the job last year. He played for New Zealand. It'd be a little strange if he was relegated for his brother Jesse after the year he had. Isaac Tungo in the centres, Luke Igana in the centres, and Paul Alamotti shifts to the wing because Brian To'o is out for round 1. Apparently, he's looking to be back for round 2. We'll see. But obviously big Alamotti to the wing and Garner to the centres, which is interesting. It feels like, I mean, a lot of people just thought it was going to be Casey and Jesse on the wings and Alamotti would stay in the centres. You would think that would just make sense, but Cleary is gone for, I guess he's gone for a more defensive approach, you would say, although it's, I don't know, it's always a bit risky having a second rower defending in centres. They can be rock-solid defenders, but they've got to contend with a bit more speed and footwork. So Is it better defensively? I don't know. Garner he's done a job in the centres. He did it at the Tigers at times, Penrith. So yeah, interesting. Obviously this solidifies Casey. I don't mind him at 400k. Like, I still think he's got good value on the Panthers wing, but yeah, I don't know. There's so many good options. Are Penrith going to be a high scoring team this year? I sort of don't think so, but we'll see. Also, Jack Cole has been brought in for Blaze Talangi. I mean, he's been struggling with that shoulder rehab a little bit, but I think the word is that Cole was just favoured over Talangi to start the season, which is interesting. Again, it looks like they've gone for more a defensive style, which is fair. Round 1 of the season, Blaze Talangi not noted defensively strong, so Jack Cole gets first dibs here. I'm interested to see what his price is, actually, because I think he's been like okay Supercoach wise, I think, but yeah, probably a little bit risky. Nathan Cleary, obviously the captain there. Is that different, actually? Has Isaiah Yeo been the captain? Were they dual captains? I don't know. I thought Isaiah Yeo was always the captain. Has the mantle shifted now? Maybe I'm just misremembering. But Moses Leota prop with Lindsay Smith, who I'm still really keen on Smith. I just don't know if I can swing it. Mitch Kenny at dummy half. Sorensen in the back row with Liam Martin and Isaiah Yeo in the 13. So Sorensen does get his starting role back, which, I mean, I'm not surprised with. I know a lot of people were very keen on Isaiah Papali'i, and good reason to be back rower in the Panthers. He's done the job. He's been a gun before, but I don't know. Even though Papali'i was in my very first iteration, I did always think that, I mean, Sorensen, he's been the man. Like, the only reason Sorensen hasn't been in the team is due to injury. Like, if he's fit, he has been the back row, and he's done an exceptional job. So I'm not surprised to see Sorensen there. I'm actually curious to see his price. I think he's pretty cheap with all the injuries, but yeah, probably, I don't know. Does he play 80? Probably not. The bench of Dane Laurie, the 14, Zara Papali'i, Matt Eisenhuth, and Luron Patia. So, yeah. Pretty weak bench, I gotta say. It's a bit of a weak bench. I mean, this Penrith side, I mean, surely this Penrith side, they are missing some players, but surely there's no way this Penrith side can do it again, right? I don't know. Like, I look at this team and I'm like, it's still solid enough. Don't get me wrong. They've got Cleary, they got Edwards, they got Yeo. Good spine there, but I don't know. They're just missing a bit, I think. Surely this year they're on the bit of a downward trend, but there'll be I'd still say top 4, but it wouldn't shock me if they miss top 4. It would not shock me if they have a little bit more of a slip. But they'll still be very strong. So yeah, Isaiah Papali'i, I don't know. Are they gonna? He played the trials in the back row, so there's every chance he comes on for Sorensen. Even Liam Martin doesn't always play 80 minutes, so yeah, Liam Martin can get a spell. Patia, obviously a front rower, Eisenhuth front rower, and then Dane Laurie, that utility. So this is why I'm keen on Lindsay Smith, bro. Like, it's only really, I guess, yeah, maybe not. I mean, Isaiah always plays 80 minutes. I think Lindsay Smith will play big minutes. Leota won't play big minutes, but yeah, it's just the fact that Yeo plays 80 minutes. It makes it a bit trickier, I would say. But yeah, not much else there. The Sharkies. So I think the Sharks are pretty much stock standard. Kennedy, Samuel Stone Street obviously comes in for the injured Katoa, which I know people are keen on Stone Street. Unfortunately, he's at an awkward... He's at that 500k mark because every game he played last year, he scored a goddamn try. I'm not that keen on him. I just think there's better options. I mean, yeah, if the Sharkies are gonna go well, then you'd expect him to score tries, but I don't think he just doesn't. I don't think he has the tackle busting work rate that I like in a centre winger. He is one of those guys that, in the vein of like a Johnston or one of these other guys that you get on a run, and yeah, they could balloon in price very quickly. But to start the year, I just prefer some more, I guess, base orientated centre wingers. So I'm not keen, but I get the people going for him. He's definitely in a very strong backline that could score a bunch of tries. So if he gets on a run, he'll get some good points. Jesse Ramian, Kale Iro, Mulatalo, Trindle, Hines, Fanil Blake, Oregon Kafusi, and Blake Brayley, the dummy half, Nickera, Wilton, McInnes, and then Daniel Atkinson, the 14, so a bit of utility there. Sifa Talakai, Hamlin Dwelly, and Thomas Hazelton. So, yeah, stock standard. It's a little different to previous years because they've gone with a utility rather than... In many games last year, they played the 4 big forwards, like a Jack Williams would have been there. So, yeah, the back rows play 80 minutes. And then, yeah, all 3 are like middle forwards. So, Talakai, Hamlin, Hazelton. McInnes, I don't know what his price is, but he'd probably be pretty rock solid if you wanted a very rock solid second rower. Probably a little bit... He'd be what he is. Like, his price would be what he is, what he's going to score. So I wouldn't be that keen. I think Vanilla Blake's going to be very good. His price is too expensive, but it is what it is. Hines, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. At the moment, I've made a team without Hines, and I've gone with the cheapie and Duffy. And the money you can spend elsewhere is very, very nice. But Hines at 700k, it's like, if they just didn't take on Penrith, I'd be way more keen to go Hines. And you shouldn't be worried about the first game. The first game, very often, a lot of teams are low scoring. So you get Penrith out of the way nice and early, and then they've got a decent little run. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with Hines. I'm locked into Cleary. I just don't know about Hines yet. I'm still unsure. The goal kicking is still a bit of a worry for me. The fact he didn't kick the rest of the goals in the trial. He's probably good to go. He probably will goal kick, but I don't know. There's always that little inkling that, if he gets a little niggle, then all of a sudden Trindle kicks again. It's a bit concerning, but yeah, not much else to really talk about with these two teams. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up the Vegas preview. Who am I tipping this one? I got to tip the Sharks. Honestly, I said at the start, I think Penrith potentially could slide down more than people think. It's going to be a tough game. But I think if the Sharks if they want to be contenders this year, if they want to be actually considered premiership contenders, then this is a game that they have to win. Honestly, it is round 1. Upsets happen, anything can happen. It won't be an upset if Penrith win, obviously, but this is a game the Sharkies, I think, should win if they play their best footy. I think the Penrith side, it's looking a little weak. It's looking a little bit weak, I will say. Their bench is much more damaging, impactful, I would say. I'm going to tip the Sharks. Penrith are probably going to come out, fucking concede no tries and just grind them out like they fucking do. But I don't know. I'm going to tip the Sharkies in this one. But yeah, not much else to say. Like I said, the leagues will be in the comments section. Put your questions in. I'll definitely do another video, I guess, going through my team again. I might go through, I guess so this game's on Sunday, obviously, and then on Tuesday next week, we'll get the rest of the team list. So yeah, I'll obviously do another video in the lead up to that, and then we'll do a preview before the regular round kicks off. So yeah, I guess just going through players that are going to be in my team. Cleary locked in. No one else in the back line. Casey McLean slightly interested, but probably not. Lindsay Smith I am, but again, if I don't go Hines, I can definitely afford Lindsay Smith and bolster the front row. So Smith, maybe. I still like him. No one else. The Sharkies, it's only really Hines for me that I am 50-50 on. There's obviously some good players here, but I'm going to steer clear at the start. A lot of them are pretty highly priced and this and that, so not too much to worry about, because again, you have to make sure you lock in your Panthers, Sharks, Raiders, Warriors players before Sunday. Don't get caught out, and also don't have like a bunch of these guys that you're 50-50 on, and then all of a sudden you get locked out and you're like, oh shit, I didn't actually want this guy in the team. So just make sure you're locked into what players you actually want in your team from these two early games. So there's only a couple of players there. Raiders, Warriors, there's a few as well. Obviously, Tamale, I think I'm going to bypass again. I think there's better options, a bit more secure. If he keeps the spot and he looks good, you can definitely either downgrade or sideways trade if someone else is, something else will happen. Something will happen, injury, whatever. Things happen. Horsburgh locked in. I don't mind Starling, but again, I think just with the uncertainty of the role, I think I'll just wait. I'll just wait to see what happens with the rest of the dummy half cheaper options, to see just whoever gets a good role. I'll take Zach Hosking. I'm keen on. I don't know. That's pretty much it. It's just out of Hosking if I start him, and then the Warriors. Tuapiki, I've got to see if he's got the duel. If he's got the duel. If he's got the duel, I think I'm going to go Tuapiki over Tuivasa-Sheck. That's my call. That's my call right there. If he doesn't, I think I'm still going to go Roger. Metcalf locked in. And then, that's pretty much it. I don't think I'm going to go Varmaga, even though a lot of people are the cheapie, but I think I'll bypass and wait for the rest of the team. So there's only a couple of players I've got to make a decision on. But hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. Make sure to like and comment. Only a couple more days before some proper footy is back on our doorstep. So we'll see you guys in the next one.